Okay, let's have a look and see how we can implement our measures of central tendency in Excel. So I've already entered a data set, 9 measurements of plant mass from an experiment, and set up the cells where we want to put the mean, median, and mode, and a cell for putting the mean formula to check that the Excel function gives us what we want. Okay, the first thing to do is to put our data into order, and so we can do that by selecting the data that we want to put in order, and under the Data tab there's a Sort button. Now if you've got lots of data you can use the multiple column sort, but we've only got one column of data, so we can use the simple sort. So let's sort from largest to smallest, or smallest to largest, and so let's do the smallest to largest sort. Okay, so now our data is nicely sorted. Okay, let's determine the mean for our data. So in Excel, under the Formulas tab, we click on that and then click on Insert Function, and we get a menu of functions. We may have to select the statistical category first and then look down the list to find what we want. And we know that another name for mean is average, so we'll click on that one. We see that its verbal description tells us that average returns the average or the arithmetic mean of the arguments being the data values that it takes as its input. So let's give that a try and see if that works. Click on OK. Then we need to select the data range that we're going to calculate the average on. We get a list of the numbers it's going to use, and we get a preliminary result. So let's click OK, and Excel calculates the mean as 133 and change. And if we look at our data, that doesn't appear to be unreasonable. Now we've got quite a few decimal places there. Let's reduce the number of decimal places just so it's a little more in line with our data, which is given at the single kilogram level. So to adjust the number of decimal places, go to the Home tab, and under the number area we've got a button for decreasing decimals. So 1, 2, 3. So down to 1 decimal place, that looks a little better. Okay, median. Click on the cell we want to put the median in. Again, click on the Formulas tab, the Insert Function button, and then slide down the list of statistical functions to median. So there we are. Click on median, and we see that median returns the median, or the number in the middle of the set of given numbers. We've got 9 items. The middle is going to be the 5th one, so we've got 4 above it, 4 below it. So 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5th one is 133. So that's the result that Excel should give us. So say OK to that. We need to select the data that it's going to calculate from. There's the list it's going to use, and here's the preliminary result, which is 133, which was what we're expecting. So that looks good. We'll say OK, and that's the median. The mode, again, well, we've already selected the Formula tab, so we don't need to click that. We'll click Insert Function and go down to Mode. There we go. When we get there, we see that we've actually got 2 modes, Mode Multiple and Mode Single. Mode Multiple's got some quirks. We'll leave that for now. We'll select Mode Single, and we're told that Mode Single returns the most frequently occurring or repetitive value. And that's similar to our definition of mode, the most popular, the most frequently occurring. item, so we'll take that. We need to select the data range. And there's the list of numbers it's going to use. But instead of a result, it's just showing us the formula. Well, if we look at the data, we see that every item is unique. There is no mode. There is no more frequently or most popular item in there. So we say there's no mode. What does Excel say? Well, click OK, and we get an error message, NA not applicable. And we also get the message, a value is not available to the formula or function. And that's consistent with us saying that there's no mode. Just a comment here, if you've got more than one mode in a data set and you use single mode function, it'll return the first one, the first mode, when the data is rank ordered. Okay, the last thing to do is enter a formula for the mean. We know that the mean should be the sum of all the data items divided by the number of data items that we've got. So let's enter that formula. So click on the cell and start a formula with the equal sign. And to add up all the items in a data set, we've got a function called sum. We can just type that in the left bracket, and then we need to select the data range and then put in the right bracket. So we've got the sum. If we just hit enter, we see that the sum of all the data items is 1205. So that gives us the numerator of our mean formula. And we still need to put in the bottom or denominator. So click on the cell again, and to add the denominator to the formula up on the formula bar, I'll put in divide by 9. And then I'm going to hit enter. And we see that we get 133.8 and a whole bunch of decimals. Let's reduce the number of decimals just so we see that we've got the same result as the function. So we'll click on the cell, and to reduce number of decimals, click on the Home tab, and then the decrease decimal button. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so when we get it down to one decimal place, we see that the result is the same. So that should take care of us using Excel for measures of central tendency.